Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Athlete Zone podcast. Today, we have another special guest joining us today from the Oregon State basketball team. He's already made a name for himself on and off the court, and today we're going to be diving deep into his journey, his brand, and the impact that he's making beyond the game.
Yeah, so today our guest is Josiah Lake. He's a standout play guard for the Oregon State University basketball team. And he had a really impressive high school career, and now he's building something even bigger.
So we're going to be talking about Josiah's journey from his early days and then how that came to be a D1 athlete. And then we're going to be using his story to talk about his platform that builds a brand that represents something a lot bigger than just sports. So welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
How is life treating you at Oregon State?
It's amazing. I love being here. The people that I'm around, that I'm getting, to surround myself with are, great people. I feel like Corvallis is just a great place to, mature and grow up. Everyone that I see, whether it's, at Subway or McDonald's or on Monroe, are just super friendly, super nice, and I feel very welcome here.
That's really cool.
So who were your biggest influences growing up and both in and out of sports?
One of my biggest influences outside of sports is definitely my dad. He taught me a lot of things I know now just about, life and, being a young man and growing up. But also, even with basketball, he went here, he played here. So kind of following his footsteps, was something that was a big accomplishment for me. And, he just has a big spot in my heart just because he did so much for me without, wanting anything in return, So that's definitely someone that I look up to, on and off the court. He does everything the right way. He's one of the hardest workers I know.
It's amazing.
So was Oregon State always kind of the goal then? Or did it kind of just end up that way?
No, definitely. Oregon State was always a school I was looking at as a kid, like my dream school. I want to play there. I want to go there.
That's so cool.
But I never really knew how hard and how much work it would take to get here. So that's something that, I had to learn the hard way a little bit. But, I got here, so
yeah,
it's super exciting to, see my dad in the stands, watching me play when he did almost exactly the same thing.
It's got to be such a proud dad moment.
So taking it back to high school, remind us, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Tualatin, Oregon. Okay. I went to Tualatin High School.
So what would you say was your proudest moment, during the high school basketball journey?
My proudest moment during my high school basketball journey is definitely winning 2 state championships.
Yeah.
My junior year of high school, we won Tualatin's first state championship. Mm-hmm. So that was, a big accomplishment for me and, for the guys around me because I grew up with those guys, playing with them for, 3-4 years. So it was just a super cool accomplishment for me and my coach, my high school coach, to get done. And then obviously winning it my senior year didn't seem real. Back-to-back state champions after having 0 titles as a team was definitely an experience that I wish I could go back to.
Yeah. Did you face any challenges in high school?
Yeah, definitely. I wasn't highly recruited in high school, so it was very difficult for me to, stay motivated sometimes because sometimes I was like, I don't know if anyone's watching because I didn't have any Division I offers going into my senior year, even ending my senior year of high school. So that was something that, I had to really just, get back in the gym and just keep working on my game. And that's, where my dad comes in, just always helping me grind and just push through.
That's honestly a really interesting thing to think about. I didn't think about, waiting for offers, and you've worked so hard to get here, and you're still so young. You're 17, 18 when you're about to graduate, and you just have to hope you get that opportunity to continue.
Yeah, definitely. It was one of those things that was, it was tough along the way, but now I look back and I know it shaped me as a better person and a better basketball player.
Yeah, it's a good way to look at it.
So obviously high school was huge in shaping who you are as an athlete and as a person, but stepping into collegiate athletics is a whole new level. So let's talk about that transition. What was it like going from high school to a D1 athlete?
Very different, first of all. A lot more, I don't know how to say this. I would say you just are expected your best every time you're on the court, which I agree with. I think sometimes in high school you take for granted the practices and, the hours you're in the gym. But, once you get to college, every second you're in the facility, you have to go hard and you have to, give it your all. And that's how you see the results of being, the best player you can be or the best team you can be.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like it's hard to balance that with being in school?
Sometimes I do think, balancing basketball in school can be difficult, but I have a good supporting cast with everyone in the BRC, including Abby. Shout out to her for always just being there for me and helping me with all my academic work and giving me the support I need.
Yeah, so like leading into that, what role has your coaching staff played in like your growth as an athlete and just a person?
My coaching staff has done a phenomenal job just putting confidence in me and kind of believing in me when it was tough. Coming here as a walk-on was kind of hard for me, and it made me face certain challenges. But knowing the coaches were always in my corner, helping me get through the hard times of learning along the way how to just become a collegiate athlete. I just want to thank them for that, and just always always have a special place for them just for believing in me and just having the confidence in me.
Mm-hmm. How do you balance like school activities, your social life, practice?
Honestly, I couldn't even tell you. Sometimes, I'm up till midnight doing homework. Sometimes I have to wake up early to do homework, but it is what it is. I mean, we all, have certain struggles in certain, time zones in our life that just, sometimes they're busy, but I feel like once you get the hang of it, and like I said, Abby with the tutoring and the academic help, I couldn't do it without her. So, honestly, just, kind of just doing my own thing and getting it done when I can.
Mm-hmm. It's really good that they have resources like the BRC, because that's just, they have like dedicated time for athletes and dedicated offices for advisors for you guys, right?
Yeah.
How have your teammates like influenced your experience as a player here at Oregon State?
I love my teammates. Even last year, some of those guys aren't here this year, but they always helped me become a better person and just brought the laughs out of me, even when practice was hard or lift was hard or we were doing a lot of conditioning. Those guys are just guys I see every day. We're in the lab together, so we create a tight bond and we're very close. So they always help me push through certain things, hard practices and all the above.
Do you feel like the transition from like the environment you were in with your team in Tualatin versus here, like, is it a little different? Like, I feel like the athletic community is so much bigger than your own team too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. My Tualatin team, in a high school team, not everyone main sport is basketball. So we had a lot of football guys, but I feel like my high school team was, very rare because I think a lot of the guys on that team wanted to win and wanted to compete. So when I got here, it wasn't much of a difference because, the Beaver way is, you got to win and you want to win and you have pride. So I feel like it was very similar in that way because, you're just around people that want to win and want to bring the best out of you and want to have success.
Yeah. So as you've grown as an athlete, you've obviously been building your brand at the same time at Athlete Zone. So let's dive into what your brand specifically represents and why it's so important to you. So what role does Athlete Zone play in helping you bring your brand to life?
First of all, I want to thank Athlete Zone just for helping me, put something that I love on a t-shirt, which is, basketball and Oregon State and, my last name. So, first of all, shout out to that because, I don't know where I'd be without that because, it's so cool to see my mom and my dad come to my game with a shirt on or, even when I went to go play at North Texas this year, my family in Texas, they all had my t-shirt on. I just thought it was super cool, for them to be able to come and support me, through a t-shirt. And, looking years back, it was always something that I didn't think was possible. Having my own brand and my own name on a shirt, my own design. So that's something I really look at is it's very heartwarming and cool to see, family members, friends, fans just wear my merch.
Yeah, that's amazing. Do you have any advice that you'd give to new athletes or any other athletes looking to start their brand?
Yeah, anything is possible and don't set yourself short because I didn't know I'd be in this position. So I know athletes out there looking to, build a brand or, do something similar to what I'm doing with Athlete Zone. You can do it. You just have to, reach out or just, just keep working hard. Because if maybe it's not finding you right now, but, you know, hard work doesn't go unnoticed.
Yeah.
I agree.
So your brand isn't just about you. It's about your fans, it's about your community, your family, your faith, whatever. So let's talk about your fans and like the impact that they've had on your journey. So how does it feel when you see fans wearing your merch?
It's amazing, you know, going to games, and sometimes I'm warming up and I'd glance over and I see a fan that I've never seen before in one of my shirts, and it's just like, dang, that's super cool that
Yeah.
you know, we're connected through the game of basketball, you know, through the love and passion of, you know, sports, and even you know, a T-shirt, a brand, and just very cool to see, and you know, almost brings my confidence up as a player, because it's like, okay, like they're here to support me, so you know, I got to do what I can, you know, to give them a show and to, you know, do my best.
That's gotta be such an amazing feeling, like knowing like one day you were just a little kid who wanted to play basketball, and now like you have other kids that wear your merch and look up to you, and it's crazy the impact you can have, and that can only grow from here. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I always remember being a little kid and looking up to those college or high school players that, you know, even if it was just a little bit of time invested into me, you know, a high five, a good job, or, you know, asking about, you know, my fourth grade basketball team, like when I was just a little kid. So I always just want to make sure I'm doing the same, you know, giving back to those young kids who are looking up to me and that love the game of basketball.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been a really great conversation.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up, is there like a specific platform that people can follow you on, like Instagram, Snapchat, whatever, like that would support you the most?
Yeah, definitely Instagram. My Instagram handle is Josiah_Lake 5. So that's, you know, the best way for fans to reach me or
Yeah.
support me.
Awesome. To our listeners, don't forget to check out Josiah's merch on athletezone.com. Every purchase helps support his NIL journey and keeps his brand growing. Thank you.